Well, hi there. We're going to get started today. This is our Lunch and Learn. I think it's our sixth annual Clean Sweep / Love Bigger Lunch and Learn. It's June 28th. It's Friday at 12:30. And we've had some technical issues with the last couple of weeks. So I am going to record this and send it out to everyone who signed up because I'm not sure if we've had admission problems or whatever. There's just been some glitches with working with Eventbrite and linking it back to the account. So I'm going to present this. I'll pop it on YouTube and I will send you the links for those of you who signed up. All right, let me get started. I'm going to share my screen, but I'm Jen Hurd, so welcome. And I'm a professional organizer of 25 years or more. And I'm located in Rochester Hills, Michigan, in Oakland County, Michigan, outside of Detroit. And I do service the Detroit metropolitan area as well as a number of other geographic locations based on client requests. So I do, have hands, will travel. So that's a little bit about me. And I'll share my screen to show you the rest of what I've got for you today because I'm pretty excited about it. Oh, there it is. 1 second. Okay, let me go into the full screen mode. All right. So today we're going to talk a little bit about overcoming obstacles to decluttering and what that means. Getting into a cluttered mess sometimes takes quite a long time. Sometimes it can be situational. You've got some changes that have happened at home, or you've had a really busy month and things just get a little bit out of hand. So sometimes decluttering just means getting things back on track. Sometimes it's taken years and years and years to get to that point, and the clutter has been overwhelming. Maybe you're facing a move now, and you've been in a house for 25 or 30 years. We see a lot of that as professionals. So I decided I'd put together some thoughts today about what to do in these cases. So who am I? I'm a professional organizer, as I mentioned, for over 20 years. I am a certified Becker Method decluttering coach. Joshua Becker is an amazing, the author of Becoming Minimalist, as well as other books, podcasts, you name it. He's got millions of followers, and he has performed a certification program that I am now certified in. I'm also founder of Clean Sweep Consulting, which is an organizing business I'd had for 18 years. And prior to that, I did a lot of organizing for families that I worked for. And the Love Bigger app, which is an app on your iPhone or Android that helps you to downsize and declutter and assist charities while you're doing so. My goal, my why, is to teach intentional living. I really want to help people realize that they can make different choices about their stuff and how they live in their spaces, and motivate joyful giving to trusted organizations as well. So today's topics are the benefits of decluttering, getting organized and focused, reducing your distractions, the obstacles to getting organized, and tips to overcome those obstacles. What are your biggest obstacles to decluttering? So this is a big question, and there's a lot of reasons why people end up in a cluttered situation, not the least of which is our fantasy self. I like to talk about that one first because I think everybody fancies themselves a fisherman and they have 10 fishing poles, but how often do you really fish? Or you fancy, a big one is you fancy yourself to be a knitter or crocheter, and you have 4,000 balls of yarn, but you literally made a half of a sweater in 20 years. So there's just a lot of things that we have a fantasy about ourselves that we want to do. We buy all the accoutrement and we don't do it. Maybe because we become disinterested, maybe because it really isn't our talent. But then we hold on to the things and they clutter up our space. Your personal ability, you may not have a strong sense of or strong ability to declutter because there is an area of the brain that oversees that. Some people are not born with that as their strongest skill set. And, everybody's different. And so personal ability may come into play. Just in case mentality. I think a lot of people think about, oh gosh, I'm going to keep this just in case I need it. How many times have you asked yourself that very question, right? A lot of the just in case items can be replaced with something else that we can do just the same task with, or if you can get it in 15 minutes or less, or for $15 or less, honestly, is it worth cluttering up your space with it indefinitely? So that's something to think about. Identity and status, more is better. With social media now, a lot of people think having more stuff, he who has the most stuff wins when you die, but you can't take it with you ultimately. And so we have to question that more is better mentality and see, where we want to go with that from here. Tendency to collect. There's a genetic propensity to be a collector or a hoarding minor league or major league hoarder. And also just sometimes people have things they really like. that they tend to accumulate, but ultimately their kids don't want them. And then what do you do with those later in life when you want to steward them somewhere, find somebody who appreciates them, etc. So this might be the time for you to do it. Your family of origin and immediate family. Sometimes your family of origin never really had a system. The house you came from growing up, I've heard this from many, many clients. The house I came from growing up, everything was on the floor. I never really learned how to put things away. I never learned how to create categories for things or homes for things in my own home. Now's the time to break that curse, right? There's such a thing as a generational curse. That's a big one, because creating order for yourself, for your kids, and for your family really, really can make a huge difference in your level of peace, calm, enjoyment, time spent together, etc. And sentimentality and past seasons of life, again, hanging on to those things that we love to remember the memories from. But we have the memories. We don't necessarily need all this stuff. So something to consider. A couple more obscure obstacles: selfishness or greed. We don't like to talk about that, but sometimes people can be just plain selfish. I don't want to say something that would insult someone, but honestly, do you need 200 pairs of shoes when there's people who are barefoot down the street? Those kinds of things. These are things that in our own lives, maybe we need to journal a little bit about, question ourselves a little bit, and just think through the things that we become selfish about and what we could do with those things if we lived a little more open-handedly, right? Fear of empty spaces. Some people don't like empty spaces. A lot of trauma survivors, I had a number of them in the course of my career, severe juvenile trauma survivors fill their spaces with stuff because it gives them a comfort. I had a hoarding client who literally had a chair in the middle of a room and had hoarded so many objects around her that she had just walls of stuff in her condo. So that was one of the things that was a big change for them to realize, is that they had a fear of the empty space. Physical limitations. Sometimes you physically can't clean up the items in your space. And the endowment effect is a little more obscure obstacle to getting organized, placing a higher value on something you own than it really has. A lot of people don't count into question the cost of that object sort of whittling down over time. Some of the things you spent $2,000 on, that was a sunk cost. In economic terms, we call that sunk cost. That cost was spent then, and now the value may be completely different. It may be nothing other than just someone who really has a need. They're sleeping on a floor or etc. So the endowment effect we get to recognize is the fact that we place higher value on it because we own it, but that doesn't mean that's the actual value. So let's talk about the C word real quick. I always do this in all my meetings and talks because I like to talk about clutter just a little bit and give it a really strong definition for people. Welcome if you joined us late, by the way. Clutter is not just physical stuff, okay? It's not just the things that are all around your room. There's emotional clutter, and sometimes that leads to physical clutter. It can be things we hang on to from toxic relationships, whether that's mentally or physically, bad habits that we've obtained and retained, and we need to consider maybe stopping those. Like, for example, we've grown into a habit of dropping our clothes on the floor because our spouse always picks them up. Or we've trained our kids that it's okay to not make their bed in the morning because we'll do it. But when they grow into adults, those are things they might want to do. That's also a type of clutter, right? It looks messy, it looks sloppy in the space, and it doesn't teach a good prevailing habit. That is, we should respect our things enough to put them in order before we step away, or before we start our day, for example. And also before we end our day. That's another good point. So there's all these things that don't support your better self that we can have habits of and that we can be creating. So we need to think about it in a broader, more holistic sense when we talk about clutter. Physical space has a big impact on your mental and spiritual space. I've had so many clients over the years that have a bedroom, for example, and I walk in and I hyperventilate, and I've seen a lot. They bring piles of their work. They bring piles of mail. They drop things where they fall so that all of their shoes and all of their stuff is right in the space where they want to calm down, settle in, and go to sleep at night. That kind of stuff can lead to sleeplessness. If you're wondering why you're not sleeping at night, that could be a reason. Your physical space is impacting your spiritual space and your mental space. So you get to consciously create your physical space. You get to make choices to take control of that environment and reduce your stress, improve your focus, get more clarity, and start noticing the things in your space. Now, from this day forward, I want you to just take a minute when you walk into certain rooms in your house and just look around and survey the objects in that space. Because you might notice things that drive stress, that bring up a bad memory, that just create and trigger anxiety. Those sorts of things need to be located and shifted to a different spot or removed. So these are the things we can take action on to improve that. There just simply isn't room, right? So they say you can have it all, right? There's a comedian out now that she talks about this too. She's really funny. I forget her name. Redhead, she's fabulous. And she says, yeah, they tell you can have it all. But I don't know if they know what that means, right? And so she goes into her diatribe about it, and she's talking more about working and raising kids and having a family, which all plays into this as well. But they didn't mean you can have it all at one time. You know, we always have to make choices. Because who said we want to live with all of it in our homes, you know, at the same moment? It's just not necessarily the best choice. So here's what I tell people. A daily reminder to yourself can be that clutter is the physical manifestation of unmade decisions fueled by procrastination. This is the best definition I've ever heard for clutter. And it's because unmade decisions are what drive clutter. We haven't made the decision to quit that habit. We haven't made the decision to pick those items up. We haven't made the decision to make a home for those items. We haven't decided to even keep those items. Sometimes they're just there because we didn't make a decision to get rid of them. All of that is procrastination. All of that is not taking a minute to say, like, for example, when the mail comes in, really simple example. The mail comes in and we have a pile of stuff, 90% of which means nothing, maybe even 99% lately of that means nothing to us. It should just go straight in the recycling bin, but we don't make that decision in that moment. We bring it in, we set it on a counter, we start piling it up. And I have clients who do this and they just call me once a month to come deal with the pile because they don't want to deal with any of it. But I don't even like fostering that behavior. I would rather see you at your mail station or near your door when you come in, have a recycling bin and a trash can. When you come in, anything you're not even going to open or touch goes straight into the recycling receptacle or whatever it is that you're going to dump into your big bin outside. So we don't waste time with it, right? So we're not procrastinating, we're making the decision right away what I'm actually even going to spend my time on. That behavior right there, that simple change can spark you into doing that with other things in your life, right? Look at it up front and decide what you're really going to spend your time on and discard the rest. So that's the big goal here. Help you stop procrastinating, help you be a better decision maker. Okay, that's where my head's at. Motivation for that is knowing what you love helps you release things you don't love. And I talk about this a lot. I talk about this probably in every presentation, but part of the reason for that is because I don't think people consider that enough, right? Pay attention in your space to what makes you smile. What thing on the wall, like in this room here, I have a joke on my wall that makes me smile anytime I look at it. It says, I didn't come this far to only come this far. And to me, that's funny. It's like, you know, keep going. It gives me resilience. It gives me sort of like a minute to think back, you know, where I've been and a little bit of a push, right? Like, okay, so now what, right? So I just choose things. I curate the things that I'm going to see every day. I put them in a spot where they impact me. They make me smile. They make me think a little bit and they propel me forward. Other things that people put in spaces can be negative, can be draining. So start paying attention to what's in your space that might be emotionally draining you or energetically draining you and start making the move to slide those out of the way. I want you to write down your why you want to do this. It's the first question I ask everybody when I come on site is, okay, so why now? Why is this the moment when you're going to declutter, downsize, and make these choices? The biggest reason too for the why is it removes the things that remove you from your life. You start to decide, okay, I want to take a trip to Europe next year. I want to save money. I don't want to spend as much on things that I keep repeat buying. And I want to take any money that I would have spent on some of these other habits that I'm going to set aside to put into that fund so I can have a really great trip. That's my why. And I want my whole house to be so easy when I'm gone that whoever's checking in on it, I'm not embarrassed. There you go. Okay. So that could be a great reason, but then it helps you to remove those things, remove you from your plan and remove you from your life. because there's things that you truly love or truly want to set as a goal underneath all of that. So what's underneath it? And it's a great journal opportunity for people to sit down and just have a little mindfulness moment about why it is. And the big thing I remind people is that a slow shift sticks. Making that shift slowly is what's going to really make the habit change and make it stick. Radical change reverts, I like to say, because if it's radical and you just toss everything up in the air, you're going to go back to your old ways. You've never really created the reason for you to continue doing it. And you haven't changed behavior along the way. Maybe you just went through and threw out a bunch of stuff, but you're going to accumulate it again unless you change the behaviors underneath it. So this helps you improve your lifestyle and your ability to focus on what really matters. So the benefit of doing this, of all of this, to me, these are things that I've seen over the years, is that there's a tremendous cost savings. It permits you to redirect your funds to those priorities that I just talked about, for example, like a trip, like a emergency fund, the things that make you feel secure, right? There's a joy in the generosity of giving the things away that people don't realize. A lot of people hold on to stuff because they don't know where it's going to go. They don't want to throw it away. They do want to be a good steward. I think the general intention out there is to be a good steward, but they don't understand how much joy the generosity can bring them. Sharing the stuff with an organization that benefits people that maybe have gone through something similar to what they've gone through. The joy of doing that is immense. The joy of even going on a website, instead of buying myself something on Amazon today, what if I went on and looked up a charity and just bought something for somebody there randomly and just gave it away if I had the extra? Wouldn't that be fun? Wouldn't that create some joy and a feeling of, wow, I did that, right? So if you're ever having a really bummed out day, go look up a charity in your local area and just randomly buy something on their wish list on Amazon and drop ship it. You'll feel a huge boost, and it's not going to come back in your house and clutter you up. Decluttering also helps you make fewer choices in a day. It gives you more time to do the things you actually choose to do rather than chasing your tail. You don't spend as much time taking care of things, and you have less things to actually clean, store, dispose of, care for, etc. You can choose memories over stuff and really create and curate your life and have some really fun times. And becoming intentional does improve your decision making overall. Whoops, sorry, jumping around. It's important to reduce distractions for a couple of reasons, and I do want to drill down into this too, because this might really make an impact on some of you. Decision fatigue is a real thing. And all day, every day, we have so many interruptions. My phone has gone off 6 times since I started this, just as an example. I have to make the decision to decline that or to not look at it every time it goes off. All of those little clicks, those mental shifts all day long, and there's a lot of studies on this now, where when task shifting occurs too much throughout the day, you get an extreme amount of decision fatigue. So if you simplify the number of tasks you have to do to tidy up, to get through your day, the number of decisions you make on the number of articles of clothing you have to choose from, etc., all of that frees your mind up for creativity, for fun, for rest. It also can help reduce inflammation and overwhelm if you get some of those dusty, dirty objects out of your house that are creating allergies and sensitivities. Improving your focus, right? Because there's fewer things to consider all the time. Managing your time better because you're not getting distracted. Like sometimes, and my house is pretty pristine, but when I work at home, I get distracted by other tasks, right? I turn around and like, oh shoot, I forgot to do this, that, or the other thing. Many times I go to my office, and you'll see I've recorded some of these other ones from my office, because I'm in an office share at the accelerator where I'm working on the app. And I'll tell you what, it really helps to just remove yourself, have fewer things to consider, and just focus in on a task, right? So the fewer things in your home that distract you, obviously that benefit is there as well. And you get more time with your family, which is huge. So when you start decluttering on this journey, there's really no rush, right? It took a while for things to get this way. So becoming a minimalist doesn't mean overnight you just throw away all your stuff and all of a sudden you're a minimalist. It means you start to make conscious choices, and you do it at a pace that's right for you. So, and in a place that's comfortable for you too. I want you to create a place where you can comfortably sit down, take that old pile of papers and things you know you need to review because you just want it out. And one night, just, quietly put a lamp on, darken the room so you're really focused, and just work through that and get it out, right? Let's say there's a backed up pile of mail or some bills or things you need to do. Give yourself a quiet time, a place where it's just focused light on the object, and just take care of that. And it gives you a tremendous sense of satisfaction to do that just quickly, simply. You can put some music for motivation. You can set a timer if that works for you. A lot of people like to turn on an egg timer for 15 minutes, and they just crank away at the task for 15. When it goes off, they reward themselves, and that's great. Go have a nice cup of coffee, go, make a phone call to a friend. I'm not saying to reward yourself with buying a thing. Please note that. But do, the amount of time, the duration of time that works for you. But you're always making a forward progress. If every day you take one task and accomplish it, you're making forward progress. And if you've ever read the book Tiny Habits work. Little ongoing movements in that direction. I mean, you can turn a very large ship by just changing 1 degree, right? So organized stuff is still stuff though. So the fewer things you have, the less you have to go back and take care of. So I really want people to focus on letting go. There's a few techniques that really, really work. I'm not going to go into detail on every one of them. A few things though. Saying no more often is huge. Just start to realize how many times you say yes when you really mean, I don't feel like doing that. I really can't. And start using the word no. And do it confidently. Sometimes we're not confident enough with the people that we're refusing. We feel like we're going to hurt them or hurt their feelings. You're not. All you have to say to them is, look, I need to make a really conscious choice this week. I've got too much on my plate and I need to say no to that right now at this time. I can't fit it in. That's it. No one is going to be hurt by that. No one's feelings are going to be offended. It's just you being open, honest, and giving your explanation for yourself and standing in that and being strong in it. So please, work on that. Instead of shopping as a means of self-care, this is something that on an ongoing basis, switch it out with socializing, going to visit a friend and doing something fun, or a self-care moment. Wash your hair, do your nails, make a really delicious meal, go to a farmer's market and just walk and look at all the beautiful flowers this time of year, that kind of thing. So don't necessarily buy them, just go enjoy them. Go smell the roses, literally. Clutter-free zones are great. And this is one of those that, if you're working on this project over time, if it's too big, break it down. Pick a little zone, only work on that zone before you move on to anything else. And if there's things from that area that need to move, shuffle them somewhere where they need to be and focus on just getting that zone the way you want it, right? And make sure it's your zone, not somebody else's. Don't encroach on other people's space. You're going to lead by example. Creating a capsule wardrobe, that's a big thing right now. And you can look it up on TikTok or on any of the other, what do you call Pinterest boards and things like that. The capsule wardrobe is a 30-piece wardrobe. You have a base wardrobe with basic colors, and then you can add some color commentary pieces each season and just change those out. So it's really simple, but it really cuts down on the decision making on any given day and on the ironing and everything else that goes along with maintaining a wardrobe. Eating simpler food as well, and realizing that doing more does not make you a better person. So work on healthy eating and work on not doing more, saying no as much as you can, and slow down. It's summertime, right? This is a great time to just slow down a little bit. So decluttering doesn't get to be a downer. One of the things that's really important about getting into this is not beating yourself up. The story you tell yourself is important. Okay. Words really matter. That's why I said decluttering doesn't get to be a downer. I use the word get a lot as opposed to have to be. It gets to be. Because when something gets to be something, or I get to do something, it's a lot more motivational than I have to do something. So this is why I say this, words are important. Change the word have to get to in your vocabulary today. Make that little change. It's a huge mindset shift. you know what? Today I get to clean out that drawer that has been bugging me and it's going to feel really good. Instead of, I gotta do that, right? You start out with an attitude that's positive. I get to do it for myself. It's almost like a reward, right? It then decluttering is not a terrible task. It's a positive. Remove something that bugs you or doesn't serve you. That also makes it feel good, right? Progress over perfection, as I've been mentioning, and I call it the purgatory technique. Raised Catholic, right? So purgatory is like the place in between heaven and hell. We just put it in the middle, in limbo, right? So we're not ready to get rid of it, but we don't think we're really using it. You can take that object and put it in a check it later box. And the check it later box, you put a date on it. And if you haven't used it by that date, your commitment to yourself is you're just going to donate it or get rid of it at that point. So it enables you to feel like though you still have the object, but it's not in your space anymore. It's like stored away someplace. All right, a couple more tips. Seek professional help if you need us. We are more than happy to come. NAPO National, there's NAPO organizers, NAPO, that's the National Association of Productivity and Organizing Professionals. There's also NABPO, the National Association of Black Professional Organizers. So there are a few different groups out there that can help, but look us up and in your zip code, you can search, find an organizer, or you can reach out to me directly and I can help you find one. I know all of the ones in Michigan because I was the president for Michigan for a couple of years. So I know pretty much anyone out there doing it and doing it well. Call a friend, buddy up, get someone for accountability. Tell them you'll come help them with theirs. If they come help you with yours, team up on it. Realize that you're eating an elephant one bite at a time. That's a big organizing phrase, right? Because sometimes these messes can be like a big elephant. But stay in the step you're in. Don't keep moving around to all different spaces. If you're working on one room, stay in that room. Stick to it. And just move the items out of the room that don't go there, come back. Keep working on that space. Focus, right, is very important in getting decluttered. Or else then you're just shoveling stuff everywhere and you're not going to get any place. Do not declutter someone else's stuff without their permission. This is a sticky wicket because there's a lot of spouses who say, well, when my husband's away on business trips, I just get rid of stuff because I can't stand it. And that's great, but he's not going to be very happy. And that can be damaging in terms of the trust in the relationship. So the best thing is to lead by example and show what a benefit it's been. Make statements like, God, I can't believe how much time I've gotten back just by cleaning out my clothes and having fewer clothes. I can't imagine what I was doing before and how long it was taking me to get ready in the morning. Or gosh, the decision fatigue is so much less now that I only have like 3 different things I eat for breakfast. Right? Just all of that. You can really drag, other people along kicking and screaming, or you can motivate them positively using positive language. The words matter. So enroll your family members in that. And there's ways to do that. And experimenting with less is great. Like you can put things away, even with kids' toys. And I've done this with a lot of clients. Put things away someplace where if they have a reaction to the fact that it's gone, it's still there. So that you're not breaking the trust. But if they don't realize it's gone and they don't ask for it, at some point, maybe just ask permission to say, hey, I think that you're finished with this now. And I think that we could give it to some kids who really need it or whatever. That way they're included in the decision making. They realize they haven't played with it in a while. And they're probably done, and disinterested with it at that point. So there's other things that can impede your progress. One of the biggest things, I won't go into all of these either, but social media product recommendations. Any type of commercials on TV or social media product recommendations, or that keeping up with the Joneses mentality of, seeing people online that have it. Oh, isn't that cool, that gadget? If you really think about it, there's 10 other things you could do that same task with without having that gadget. Or the fact that you probably don't even really need that gadget and wouldn't have thought of it if you hadn't just seen that social media post. So take a breath when you see those things before you go and purchase them in that instant. It's so quick to be able to buy stuff now that we have to be so conscious and so mindful of what we're doing. In the summertime, travel light. So here's another trick you can play with yourself. Go on a trip, travel really light. And if you take like a week or 4 or 5 days and you take a really light suitcase with the minimal amount of stuff you would need, see if you actually are looking for anything else. I wager you won't be. I say this from experience. When I moved back from Arizona to Michigan in 2005, going into six, I packed everything up and I went to Oregon and Washington State for a month. Then I moved cross country back, went to Cape Cod for a month. My daughter and I literally had a suitcase each for the entire summer. My stuff was in storage or on a truck. I didn't need anything else. I had some clothes, a few personal items in my suitcase. We ate at restaurants. Um, I did not need a thing that summer. And I thought, oh my gosh, this is such a revelation, because when my stuff finally came, I paid so much to move so many things across country that, yeah, I kept mostly utility items, but still, I felt like overwhelmed almost, like I had too much. And so it's really interesting if you travel light and use that as a trick for yourself. I call it Dump the Duplicates Day. Go through your house, get all the likes sorted with likes, and dump the duplicates. So that's a really key way to sort of just downsize extra. Or have a garage clean out, in the summer. That's a good one. Call a pro, get it done, wash everything down. Oh my gosh, that feels so good. Slow progress is still progress. And I always tell people, add some house plants if you get rid of some stuff. They are something you have to take care of, but they do clean the air in your home too. I'm really into improving your diet, simplifying your menu, eating really clean, adding plants, because here, this is my little presentation buddy right here. He's always on my desk, and it first of all just brings a smile to my face, but also it's cleaning my air while I'm sitting here. So it's kind of nice. One of the things you can talk to family about is stewardship in the summer. You got your kids home, and it's a great time to have them do a little research project and make you a poster, or make you some girls, like I say girls because I think a lot of girls really like PowerPoint, but or Canva, to make presentations about a local charity. Have your kids find one that you can support with your stuff, and take that stuff to a local charity to share once they finish their projects, and go explore, maybe see if you can go on a birthday day when they give out the items. And the same thing, you can use that charity throughout the year. That can be your charity for that year, or until say Christmas time, do another project for a different charity. But kids really start getting into that. It's a really fun project to give them in the summer while they're home from school. To be able to continue to build the habit of getting things out of the home, put a basket or bin in each clothes closet, and have everyone in the home be responsible for things that no longer fit them, or shoes they've outgrown, to put them in there. And a couple times a year, you put it in your phone, you schedule it and say it's charity day. And you can pick when that is. It might be on the solstice. It might be in the spring and fall, whatever your preference. Before Christmas is always good, because there's so much that comes in around the holiday time, Christmas and Hanukkah, in terms of gifts. That's good to clean out right before that time. But put it in your calendar and do it. So that's that. Other ways you can reduce the things that come into your home to keep you lean is doing birthday celebrations without gifts that are either an event or activity, or selecting a charity to benefit and telling everyone to buy something for that charity. So there's Love Bigger, there's Share Detroit, there's Say Detroit. They have a ton of opportunities for things you could contribute to, buy, help with. Humble Designs, another one. Have the guests bring an item for that charity, and then go with the kids to take a tour, volunteer, find a way to support. It's really fun. As an example, one of my clients, I'm just gonna turn my fan up. One of my clients, and that's really loud. One of my clients had a birthday party to benefit. She did a birthday to benefit for the Humane Society, and she asked all of her little friends to get dog toys. And they went and played with the puppies at the Humane Society the day of the birthday party. And that was really special for her. And she really, really liked that. Other gifts that do not create clutter: if it's a wedding gift, chip in on the honeymoon or on the house fund. Baby showers, purchase necessities, or send an organizer like me over to a new mom, and we can help assemble and set everything up for them. Give service instead of stuff. Lend a hand, hire us. Give plants, give something consumable, right? Really consider gifts that don't create clutter. Love Bigger is the app that we've launched. Just as a quick update, I always do this every month. We have 14 charities in Michigan, 220 joyful givers on there. We are currently seeking corporate responsibility partners who wish to donate items to the charities who participate with us. So if you know someone at a corporate entity that might have items that they want to put into the pipeline to go to charities, we would love to talk to them. So please feel free to reach out to jen@lovebigger.com. That's me. Watch our Instagram feed for events and volunteer opportunities with our partners so you can have fun and do good. And set aside the temptation to shop for yourself. Like I said, look at those charity partners wish lists and see if there's something you can do there. A couple things about just for ongoing, like to back up what I'm saying. These are Joshua Becker's books: Clutter Free with Kids, Minimalist Home, Be the Boss of Your Stuff is a great book for kids. Minimalist Podcast with Joshua Fields Milburn and Ryan Nicodemus. They're fabulous. We have our YouTube channel where I put all of these presentations up online. And we will also have a TikTok coming soon and a podcast I think I'm going to start working on. I'm a little nervous, but I'm going to try. And we have our community on Facebook and Instagram, so you can follow us there. This is a little more information about the app. It's on iPhones and Androids. It looks like this. There's a map with all of the charity locations. You can drill down into those charities and learn more about things that they need, and you can offer up items to the charities for them to request. So that is that. This is a little bit more information. I will have this put up onto our YouTube channel shortly, so you can always grab this information from YouTube. So I will stop the sharing. Okay. If there are any questions, I'll take them now. And then if not, I will end the call and I will post this to YouTube. My VA will get this up on YouTube in the next 24 to 48 hours, and we'll send an email out to everyone who signed up so that you can watch and see if you have anything else you'd like to learn about. If you want to do virtual consultation with me, I do virtual consultations on organizing with people all over the country. And the first 30 minutes of that is free. And then if we're going to do sessions, it's a separate cost, obviously by the hour for the time. And I do have sort of a bit of a program. I've written a book that will be coming out, and the program is included in that book as well, which you'll be seeing shortly. So that's just a little bit of what's happening. All right. Well, with that, then I will end the call, and I thank you for attending, and I will post this up to YouTube ASAP. Thank you so much.